I'm going to resume recording. Okay, so I think we're good again. So again, just to check in with me, I'm very happy to meet if you want a one-to-one session. This is the CV workshop from the Student Success Series. So again, there's my email address. So please do feel free to contact me if you want to forward your CV. So we do have some CV templates. And again, this session will look at those and just explain them in a bit more detail. So we're looking at creating and updating an existing CV. So for some of you, you have a CV, you want to update it. For more of you, you're starting a CV from scratch. So unfortunately, many of CVs are generic again. So just to remember that, and remember you're selling your best self. So you're always trying to read the job description and use that when you're updating your CV. The good news is I'm going to give you lots of tips on how to do that. We do have a feedback form up on the student success page. So again, it's useful for just future events and future sessions as well. If you find that you'd like more time on anything specific or any other employability aspect, just to let us know. So how we're selling our best self. So in order to do that, and I will come back to this idea of success verbs that we put in our CVs, but why not just let's start by actually looking at the CV template, and I want to show you where that is. So again, so we're going into the career guidance services on CCT Learning Space. So this is my section, my repository, my evidence base, my online home, and I can link to it of all the employability aspects of employability skills. And so we have a business and a technology CV. So again, I can just open both parts. And again, I definitely encourage you to have a look here on the career guidance services. There's lots of different tabs: interview skills, using LinkedIn, which we'll be looking at tomorrow evening, recruitment and networking events, graduate jobs and internships. And again, some very important things like the networking piece. So again, just to remember there, because things in this section can look very good on your CV as well. So just to bear that in mind. So if we look at our CV templates, again, I might make them a little bit bigger, but the structure there is and again, let me just pop those in the chat. So again, so that's the technology one, and I just want to come out again and pop that in the chat. So that's the technology CV template. And again, if we come back out, I want to send the business one as well. So you have access to those. They're on CCT Learning Space, and you can download them anytime, and you can just add your own information. Okay, so this is the business one. There we go. Okay, so you just make a copy and off you go. And I would suggest using these formats. They're quite simplistic. I can drop a line, I can remove some spaces. It's very easy to add something in, to remove something. So it makes updating a CV when maybe have a short window to do that very easy, rather than just compromising and sending a CV that's not quite tailored. So I would just remember to do that. So name, you don't even need your whole address anymore. Dublin 3 would even suffice there, your postcode address. Please ask any questions as we go along. I don't want PPS numbers, like photographs, not necessary for Ireland. If you have a LinkedIn account, I'll be able to see your LinkedIn profile there, so I can see what you look like. I need an email address that I can contact you. And what's important about this, I'm just going to make these a bit bigger, is this is a hyperlink. It's taking me exactly to the LinkedIn profile. This is an email address, and it's matching the name. It's Anna Singh. This is the person's CV, and that's the email address. It's not World Cup Qatar 2022 @gmail.com. It's the name, and that can be really important. When I'm looking for a file, I'm looking for you in my emails, I want to type in your name and find you. So having an email address that doesn't match your name can be problematic. So I would suggest setting up an email address that matches your name. Okay, so let's just look here. We've got, for a sample of my work, and this is back to this idea of evidence on your CVs. So this is the business sample CV. You'll see creating a website perhaps could be really useful. Again, hyperlinks, SlideShare. So if you've never heard of SlideShare, there's a link to it, or Prezi. These are online forms where you can put presentations like from Google Slides or from PowerPoint. You can upload them. You can create presentations in an online format, and therefore you can link them into your CV. They may relate to a project, they may relate to things about you, but they can be really useful. You might make a YouTube video. Again, you need to set up a YouTube account. So all the links are there, TikTok, Instagram. So these are ways that you can promote yourself, and they can be useful up here to prove or show a sample of your work. On the IT CV, you're going to see very similar, but the number one things here we would be looking at would be, for example, your GitHub account or CodePen. Okay, where I can see code. So if you're a software developer or that's something you'd like to do in the future, for example, then you absolutely need to see a GitHub account, and I'd like to see it linked to your project work looking further down here. So just to move along here, I would suggest as well things like looking for summer internships or graduate opportunities. Actually, in this case, it's going to be 2023 if we're looking at graduate opportunities. Adding a visa status. So what is your visa status can be, or your employment permit status can be really important because you're letting an employer know your availability, available to work 40 hours full-time over the summer period. So that makes you eligible for any of the summer internships, and you're able to work part-time over the academic period while you're studying, and most of you are doing both, which is amazing, and full-time over the summer and Christmas periods. Okay, so be able to state upfront your eligibility status. Your profile, this can either be, it could be bullet points if you want. So sometimes we want to put these in bullet points, technology graduate. Okay, and then the next bit is you're giving me your qualifications, and confident and competent in all basic IT fundamentals, whatever it is, and these should really relate to the job. So they can be bulleted or they can be a short paragraph. Okay. Next, we're looking at key skills, and these are the key areas. So it's the blue pieces here are notes. They're just giving you examples. They're telling you how to create your CV. So the CV looks quite long and complicated because there's lots of examples and notes, okay? The bits that you would use, you would put back in a black color, okay? Match to the skills of each job, and a lot of people do not do this. They don't match the skills to the job. So for example, if you want to work in software development, put your programming skills first. If you want to work in networking, put your networking skills first. So it's really telling you exactly what to do there. You're an IT graduate or you're an IT undergraduate, you're looking for some work, you're looking for a summer internship. This needs to be up here if you're interested in software development, software engineering. If it's web development, then that needs to go up the top. I want to see what's the thing that you want to do up the top. So, you know, you're going to move these around and you're going to put in the applications that you're familiar with. And this is the idea of tailoring too. Maybe you're going for both web development jobs, programming jobs, and networking jobs. So each time, depending on the job, you're moving that skill up the top, and that really does make a difference. So these are all the different types of applications that you might be familiar with. Anything else? Maybe you're familiar with some of the graphic design packages. What operating systems can you work on? Then the other stuff, these are your power skills. So all other types of applications as well. A lot of people put Microsoft Office Suite, but they forget Google Suite, also now known as well as Google Workspace. Yeah. Photoshop, SAP, Salesforce, CRM or MIS systems, and then these power skills, the collaboration, the relationship management, the technical problem solving, the whatever is mentioned in the job description. And again, you want to be referring to those here. So you're taking a lot of this from the jobs on each occasion. When we move down along and just to cross over to the business side, it's the exact same. Again, you're thinking about showcasing your skills, using SlideShare or Prezi as a form of online repository for slides, YouTube for presentation skills, for talking about project work, professional Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, podcast, depending on where you want to work and what you want to do, publications, you can publish things on LinkedIn. Again, if you have any other publications, fantastic. And if they're in a different language, just tell me a little bit about them, translate them. Down here, the key skills would be more of the power skills. You might want to put in again, of course, the IT related skills, which could be Microsoft Office Suite. And again, if it's analytics roles, you're really highlighting your capabilities on Excel would be quite important. Your analytic skills, have you done any analysis for projects now or in the past? Advanced Excel, SQL, SPSS, anything like that? Are you familiar with database systems, online marketing tools? So again, highlight those skills because more and more our technology or our digital skills are very important in all work. Again, we're looking at matching what's in the job description. So that's the key skills section on both. Education and training, again, notes all education from Ireland and abroad. Work backwards, so it's most recent first, adding in your hyperlinks. How do you do that? So you select a piece of text that's already taking us to the CCT learning space, but let's say it wasn't, it's just a piece of text I put in. Now I want to hyperlink it. I add in insert link, this little thing here that looks like a paper clip, and I put in the web address. And I press apply, and there you have it. So now that's taking me directly to the CCT website. This is taking me directly to this Bachelor of Arts Honours in Business program overview, where I can see things like your awarding body, your major award at level 8, the number of credits. I can also see the course aims and objectives, and most importantly, course content. What is this course? What did you study? Okay, so again, this can be really, really key and important that you're adding hyperlinks. Bachelor of Business, if it's technology, that Bachelor of Science. The next thing that's really important here is the project work. So again, you're looking at the project work and you're adding, what did you do? These are your class projects. So if you're looking for work experience and you don't have work experience in a particular area, your class projects equate to work experience. They're the nearest thing you have. So you need to give an example, the aims, maybe the objectives. So what was the class project about? What was your role in it? What did you do? What hard-end software did you use? What was the result? And then show me some evidence. The evidence could be GitHub, for example, if it was code. So maybe it was some Java code for a particular project, or Python, and improve it. Make it your best code. If maybe the class project you're coding wasn't great, improve it and put that piece of improved code into your GitHub repository and link to that. If it's a business project, you might have made a presentation. Again, improve the presentation. For example, you might have got some feedback. There's some spelling errors. There's some grammar errors. It was too long. You should have used more visuals. You should have spoken more clearly. Again, re-record it. Add the slides to SlideShare, or create a YouTube video of you presenting the findings. I don't want a half-an-hour presentation. No employer has time to watch a half-hour presentation, but they will click in quickly to see a quick SlideShare where they can go down and see your slides. They can do a quick YouTube video. If it's a minute, I'm very likely to look at it. I want to see what you look like. I want to see what you sound like. I want to see what your presentation skills are like. So all of these can really sell you. And it's really about evidence anymore, evidence of our skills. Again, we've got the direct links to our college, not just the college, the course information, the ECT credits, the level, the QQI level, the exact name of the course you're doing, the exact modules. That's really important. And again, add the project work. So it doesn't matter which discipline you're in, be it business or be it technology, you're showing evidence. Again, you can use LinkedIn to show evidence. Maybe you presented something, maybe it was a poster award and you posted some photographs of you at a particular event or award, or you doing your research and you posted those images of you up on LinkedIn, and then you can link back into that. So just think about all the time about how you can link things up. So I hope that's okay on the education. Just remember, it's most recent first and you're working backwards. Now, I would say here, when we say education and training, that you could also add in any additional training or learning you're doing now. You could put it here, or as we scroll down, I know these CVs look long and wieldy and wordy, but they're full of notes, okay? So you can remove the notes, obviously, when you're making your own CV, and it's going to reduce it. So CV should be on 2 pages. So again, if we're looking at additional information courses, projects, personal projects, CPD, CPD standing for Continued Professional Development. So it's all there. Are you self-taught on anything? So again, if you've been doing any additional learning, in addition to what you're doing in college, in addition to working, that's amazing. So if I see you're studying and it's a full-time course, however, in order to survive in Dublin, you're working part-time, and then I can see something like, hey, you're also doing something on LinkedIn, you're doing social media marketing, you might be doing some project management. So you're working away on some of these courses. And a lot of these sites run free or reasonably cheap courses that are accredited. So you've got Udemy there, LinkedIn Learning has a 30-day free trial. So if you've got a spare 30 days, you can actually get through a lot of content and get your certifications. And again, just over on the technology side, it's the exact same thing. So what else are you up to? So again, we've got the same thing, your continued professional development, some things on Udemy, some things on YouTube. Maybe you're doing a Ruby on Rails course. That's 5.5 hours online, 12.5 hours online. Those things can be, again, really, really beneficial. And they prove to me, for example, you're really interested in applying for cybersecurity roles. And hey, I look down here and there you are. You're off doing something additional in cybersecurity. So that's proof to me, your employer, that you're actually interested in this area. And I can click on the link again, think of the hyperlinks, think of the evidence, and I'm going to see, oh, that's what you're doing. That looks pretty cool. Wow. So you're impressing me, and there's a connection. So people feel sometimes, oh, I don't have work experience. So let's take this scenario. So let's go with cybersecurity, as that's the course that's on there. So then up here, you're talking about your real passion for working in cybersecurity. So the last piece, seeking employment opportunities in the technology sector, specifically in the areas of cybersecurity, network security. Okay, so I'm like, okay, now show me. Let's see where I can see this. So up here, we might have something like all of these, your networking, cloud technologies, all of the stuff relevant to cybersecurity. They're not down there anymore. They've moved up here. They're up the top. I'm going, okay. And then we move down here and I see, oh, there's a college. I didn't know CCT. Oh, look there. And now, okay. Wow. Okay. We see this. And now your project work, and I see one of your projects, the first one you're going to show me because you want a job in cybersecurity, is about a secure cybersecurity project. Okay. I'm going, okay, that's really interesting. And then I float along down here, and I'm starting to see down here your personal projects. Look at you. Oh, and then the next thing, the real cherry on the cake would be if I come down this far and I see that you're involved in some type of cybersecurity meetup group or group, okay? And that's real evidence to me that you are doing what you want to do, you're passionate about it, you're working on additional work, you've extra projects, you've joined some particular groups that are connected to it. So these are all different groups that you can join and network and work on little projects. Irish Computer Society, free to join for all students. Irish networking operators, machine learning. So there's lots of tips and suggestions on CCT Learning Space as well, on all the different LinkedIn groups you can join, Eventbrite, meetup groups, and then some extra groups like the Irish Computer Society, like the Irish Network Operators Group. So there's lots of things. So that's what you're in competition with. Your CV for the same role. And you might think, oh, but I don't have experience. This is how you get the experience. And there's even a great site, and I'll show it to you. It's up there on CCT Learning Space. So some of you will have heard of this. So again, and I'm just going to bring this in. It's exactly the same for both disciplines. It's the same process. You're going to have to prove to me your interest in particular areas. So we'll go here to, this is CCT Learning Space. It's open source. You can just type in Google CCT Learning Space and it will bring you to the homepage. And then you just go into the Career Guidance Services section, and then you'll find all of my resources here, okay? And I'm always updating them. So recruitment and networking events. So it just tells you what's happening, but also here, there's some suggested groups you can join, okay? So suggested meetups. So we've got analytics, different types of analytics groups. So if that's the area you're interested in, I want to see the projects in that area. And I'd also like to see some of your that you've joined some of the groups. Business groups, we've got FinTech, Global Finance, Meetup Live, that's New York, but since the pandemic, we can network with people all over the world. So you can go to some amazing groups, join some groups in London, in New York, all over the world. You just have to be aware of the time differences, and you can network and still work on projects. So that's one positive out of the pandemic, that we have become more of a global network. Business improvement and innovation. Again, some technology groups here. There's some STEM groups for ladies. So groups for women in technology, blockchain, CWIT, Pi Ladies, STEM women, Wenters, women in code. Then we've got some additional groups down here, another analytics one for data science. That's part of the Google operation, IBM Gaming, ICS, which you mentioned earlier, LinkedIn Live. And then we've got the Dublin Startup Founder. They have amazing monthly events, and they have them down in the CHQ building, really cool buildings. They're in person and a great way to network from a business perspective. Global blockchain founder showcase. So there's loads. I mean, there's loads of groups that you can be joining, and that just looks super, super good on your CV. So here I want to see under this, and this might be a heading that you never thought of putting on your CV before, continued professional development. This is another way to prove to me, to the employer, that you're interested in the area that this job is in. And I also want to see here in terms of maybe some online publications that you're following. Silicon Republic is pretty good for who's coming to town, who's opening business, who's hiring. They do great little pieces on different aspects of work. accounting today, if maybe accounting is your thing, global finance, Enterprise Ireland, Think Business, all the different meetup groups again. So then the end of the CV is additional information and interests. So, but to your interests, really put something in your discipline, like if it's technology, then maybe new technology, and I subscribe to these publications. So prove it, and then you put in some of the other interests. Just going to back up here. The piece that we haven't got quite to yet is the employment history. Now, a lot of people say to me, but hey, I work in retail. I work in security. It's not related to what I want to work in. That's all well and good, but it still should be mentioned. And I'll say why, because this sentence can be quite amazing to see on a CV. And it's one of the big things that employers say about our CCT students, that they're work ready. And why is that? Because you're already working. You're working to pay your rent, you're working to pay your college fees. There's no big bank of mom and dad for most of you. You're out there, you're working and you're studying, which is a huge achievement. So it's well worth putting in, because it shows your resilience, your tenacity, your strong sense of self, that you're here and you're putting yourself through this. And I think it should be recognized. And it's part of the feedback that I get a lot about our students in the world of work, that they're very work ready. And why wouldn't you be? Because you're already out there working. You know how to turn up to a job on time, and you know how to be professional in that job. So while studying full-time for my degree or my higher diploma, I have been funding my college fees and living expenses in Dublin by working part-time in a variety of positions. You can use this sentence, okay? And again, you're working backwards. So the most recent goes first. It may not have the most amount of detail, or you can start with the most relevant, and then you work back in chronological order. Okay, so if you did for example, some work in business before, some work in analytics before, some work in research, which would be related to analytics, or some work in technology, then you would put that first as most relevant, and then you'd have your other section, so you'd add in a section called other. Putting in the company name, click in, add a hyperlink to the website again, maybe say what the company does if a company is not an Irish company. Just, this was a manufacturing company for chips for computers, mainly Microsoft was one of their biggest customers, something like that. Just tell me a little bit about the company so I can put a name that may be faceless and nameless to me, going, oh, never heard of that. I wonder what that does. You could have a website, a link to it, and just one little sentence about what's this company about. What was your position? Now, again, something to remember here, and I find this comes up a lot on CVs, maybe the job title, we call it something different here. So a really good rule of thumb would be to look up the job title, look up the job in Ireland or in an English-speaking country like the UK. And if you find it, maybe change the name of it to what we recognize it as here. It might be project manager, but maybe it's called something else in your country. So put the name that's recognizable here, so we understand the job from looking at the job title. The other thing you can do then is just to look at achievements and these success verbs and numbers. These are a lot better than just a list of things you did in a job. And here's an example of some of these success verbs, and on the slide deck you will see that there's lots more. So increased, decreased, improved, reduced, introduced, eliminated, added, and achieved. Okay, so there's a lot in there, and if you can add percentages and dates, that's even better. One of the big transversal skills is saving time and money. So transversal skills you bring from one piece of employment to another, now called power skills, because there's such a focus on the soft skills. And the reason there is a focus on that is that employers are looking at the growth of development of you within a company, because it takes so much time to interview and go through the interview process. They're already looking at moving you within the organization. And so these things like soft skills can be hugely important. Are you going to be a team leader? Are you going to be a project manager? Are you going to be a manager? Where are you going to navigate within an organization? And have you got some of those skills already? So never discount these power skills, and also very useful in terms of working with customers and clients. So start the duties. If you can, instead of duties, look at achievements instead. And try and think if you can put in some digits, some numbers and times, increased customer base by 10% over a 6-month period. So that's 20% over 12 months, 1 year, which is quite amazing. So again, if you can try and think of numbers, they just become a lot more accurate, a lot more detailed, and a lot more attractive to employers, because they're seeing exactly what you achieved in your previous roles. Okay. Successfully met KPIs each year, exceeded, things like that, exceeded KPIs on an annual basis, key performance indicators. So that's one of the variables that you would be judged on in terms of your annual review in an organization. They're called KPIs, key performance indicators. Hopefully the business students will know that one. So again, using those, remember no gaps. So if you have time when you were transitioning from one country to another, learning English, adapting to new traveling, put it in. It just has to be a little line, but don't leave a gap, because the gap becomes a big circle on your CV, it becomes a question mark, and I can go, oh, they were traveling. Did you do anything? Oh, learned a bit of Spanish, learned about different cultures and races, so again, all of these things are useful. They're these transversal or power skills. But what's an issue is if there's big gaps. So if you do have big gaps and you're not sure how to fill in the information around that, come have a chat to me and we can work out something. All right. But it's better to have these gaps filled in with content rather than a gap, because it becomes then the focus of an interviewer will be, well, what were you doing during this time? There are all the sections of the CV, so just have a little think about that. And as I said, I am available for one-to-one sessions if you want to go through your CV. I will always refer you to the sample CVs here, guys, always. And I will say, look at the video, this video, before you come back to me, because I want to make sure that you're really looking at all of the headings, that you're adding in all of these. So if your CV doesn't have something like key skills, I'll be saying you need to add those in. If it doesn't have a profile, I'll be asking you to add that in. If you don't have any evidence-based links, I'm going to be asking you to add those or start considering. So the sooner you start working on your CV in terms of adding these things, the better, because it actually takes some time to say you're going to set up a GitHub account, and that's all well and good, but oh my, you know, say software development you want to do, oh, you need to fix that code, it's not great, you need to fix the Java, fix the Python, that's going to take a bit of time. Then you're going to link to it onto your CV with your best possible coding skills. The same from a business perspective. Oh, that presentation, I did well in it, but I can see that I'm missing a few visuals. I need to spell and grammar check it. I want to change the font and make it more punchy and better visually. So you're going to have to spend time doing that before you can put it on SlideShare and link it back to your CV. So all these little pieces can take time. They're like mini projects within a bigger project. So let's look at the 5 steps. Well, we have been looking, update your CV. So that's the structure of both of the CV templates. So you can access them on Learning Space with all this other information in terms of groups you can join. And you need to tailor your CV for every job application. So just to remember that, it might be small little moves. It might be just moving something up 1 or 2 lines. So you might be moving, professional, discrete, and solution focused up because it's a job that requires that. It might be an analytics job, so you're going to put all your statistical analysis up the top. You're going to be moving these guys around. You're not going to be so much moving your education piece around, but you're certainly going to be moving these guys around. I mean, somebody, if you were going for a data analytics job, you might be looking at moving some of these up to the top. Okay, so or rewording them using the wording from the job description. Okay, so read the job description, keep an online copy of it, an online folder of it, a screen grab. It disappears once they've got all the applications they need. You're called for an interview and maybe you're going, oh gosh, I can't remember even what the job was called. So that can be a real problem. And it's also the job description, the job application is going to have all of the information you need to prepare for the interview, because it's going to have those behavioral and competency questions already on it. So they're the ones that you're going to have to do your star or car stories around. Look at the language they speak. So if I have a job application, I usually have a online or offline, however you want to do it. I'm highlighting all the keywords. What's coming up more than once? Have they mentioned customers 5 times? Oh my gosh, they're really going to be big on customer service. I need to talk about relationship building. I need to talk about the time that I increased our customer base. I need to say that I've got one that, the customer satisfaction reports on my behavior for my shifts, all of that kind of stuff, because this company are really all about customers. So only by reading and highlighting will you see where the words start to repeat. And if they repeat, that tells you that this is something that's really important to that job. So add their keywords to your application. So I really can't stress enough to go through the job description in really fine detail. Sell your best self. So we're going to have a look at, think of the cultural fit and the language. And again, you're going to get a sense of that from the job description, but also start following the company if they're on LinkedIn. Do a search on Google to see, is there anything in the news about them recently? Have they won any awards? Are they a cool place to work in? What are their values? What is their mission statement? And can you tie any of that language and those words and that intent into your CV? Avoid the simplistic templates. You cannot move things around here. It's going to be very difficult. So if you're downloading a template from the internet, just download mine. They're easy. You can add spaces, you can delete, you can add a new bullet point, you can remove a bullet point. It's all really easy. These complicated templates will be a nightmare. For example, if I try to update something here, I'm going to be I'm going to be finding it really difficult because everything's going to move down here and that's going to put everything here out of sync. And I'm just going to give up halfway through and possibly send a generic substandard CV. And I know you guys have come across this where it's too complicated to update your CV and the time window is too short and you just send something that's not great. And it's not giving the employer the information they need. No boxes, none of this. If you want a transcript, then get a URL link to your online transcript and add it at the bottom, or have an appendix to your CV. No boxes, you keep it really simple. No scales, none of the scales. According to me, I'm great at branding, I'm okay at editorial, I'm good at programming, I'm good at web design, I'm good at UX. Really? According to you? Okay, then show me the evidence. That's what I want. That's what the employer wants, not this. So again, back to the templates, contact information, recognize structure, personal profile. Doesn't matter what you call these things. They're called loads of different things. Career objective, personal statement. But then your key skills, education, training, career history, employment history, and the parts I would say that it's the people normally have not considered up to now would be these two here: memberships, online subscriptions, who are you following, continued professional development, personal projects. I think they might be new to a lot of people that you didn't consider adding. And also the important pieces up here in terms of the evidence links to your work. Okay. Match the order of your bullet points to the order listed on the job spec. Okay, so each time keep the job. What's the first thing they're looking for? Do you have it? If you do, great. If you don't, move to the next one. What's the second skill? What's the third skill? Employment history. What's the first thing they want you to do? And have you done anything like that before? And again, don't be afraid to use some of their language, even partially the sentences they're using. You mightn't have everything in the sentence that they have on the job description, but you might have the first few words of it, and then you can take it off on a little tangent. Achievements, the what else? What have you achieved? So this is in terms of work, and this is where you're thinking of those success verbs. Introduced, implemented, reduced, increased. And again, just a reminder, if you've saved time or money anywhere, that's a mindset. It's a growth mindset. You're going to do it no matter what industry you work in. If that's the way you're made, if you're you're a person who looks to make efficiencies, then if you did it in a coffee shop, you're going to do it in KPMG, because it's something that's just who you are. And those are fantastic transversal or power skills to have. Think about these numbers. And again, as I said, the sooner you start working on your CV, the sooner you're going to be able to look at these things, and you're going to be able to improve in all these areas. And it takes a while to come up with maybe the numbers. Other success verbs, here we go. So just, you can come back to this slide. Everything's going to be up online tomorrow. Customized, illustrated, designed, enlisted, formulated. There's loads of success verbs. Do a Google search on success verbs yourselves. See what comes up and add some of those verbs into your CV under the duties side. There's a video, and that's also up on Learning Space. 16 essential soft skills for the future of work. Power skills for the future. I'm going to give you a list here, just of ones that have come up recently, okay? Collaborative problem solving, learning to learn, digital competencies and mindset, initiative, independent thinking, resilience, adaptability, cultural awareness and expression. The only technical one here would be digital competencies. So here you can just see these whole power skills idea and the importance of them in industry now. And again, why? Because they're looking at your future growth and development. You may be very technically minded, and maybe that's where you want to stay. But if you're looking at being a team leader, supervisor, project manager, manager, department leader, then these are the skills that employers are going to be looking for above and beyond your existing skills. So when it gets to the interview and you've got 2 or 3 people with the same set of skills, the interviewer is thinking, what else? What else can you give me? I know you're brilliant technically. Look at all the amazing stuff you've done. Great. I know you're a brilliant accountant. I've seen your financial results. They're amazing. Brilliant. What else? Are you a people person? Are we going to get on? Can I see you leading a team? That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the what else. So always be aware of that. What else are you doing to impress the potential employer? Then back to things of updating your CV, some key questions. Just ask yourself, download the templates. What have you joined? Join some groups related to the areas you want to work in, meetup groups, LinkedIn groups, Eventbrite groups, personal projects you're working on. Have you asked employers what kind of projects they would like to see? This is an amazing thing to do at a jobs fair or a recruitment event or a networking event. If you join a meetup group, what kind of projects, if you were hiring someone tomorrow, I love this area, it's where I really want to work. What kind of projects would you like to see? Add additional CPD, continued professional development in the areas you want to work in. So this is what really puts your CV into the interview pile. The groups, the project work, the evidence, the links. It doesn't matter about work experience. You can do little pockets of work experience. And again, I wanted to show you this earlier. This is CCT learning space again. If we go into the graduate jobs, internships, and start looking at these, even if you're a first year, start looking at the applications for summer internships. So they're quite detailed because these interns can then do the graduate programs and then become the employees. So they start the interview process, even for summer internships, it can be quite detailed. This is what I wanted to bring your attention to. Forage. At Forage, you can have the opportunity to do online virtual work experience programs, bite-sized 5 to 6 hour virtual work experience for a lot of the high big tech Fortune 500 companies, which are also based in Dublin. So for example, you wanted to work for EY, Ernst & Young, you want to work in one of their, say, their tax or their finance or their analytics department, then you could look on Forage, see if there's any similar type virtual work experiences, even with EY itself or with a similar organization, and you do this and put it on your CV and it's going to look really strong. It shows me you are definitely interested in working in that area, and I can see it, and I don't need to see work experience. This is a virtual type of work experience. I look at your project work. If everything lines up, I can immediately see your interest. What happens is people don't get to the interview side and they get really disappointed because they're sending out lots of CVs. And I look at the CV, there's no project work, there's no groups they've joined, there's nothing to show me, to give me the evidence that you're interested in what you say you're interested in. So if I can't see it, an employer is certainly not going to see it. Do you post about seminars and events you've attended? Have you asked to get involved in projects and meetup groups? Could you mentor other students? Have you written an article, which you can do and publish on LinkedIn? Have you joined groups? Are you signed up for any other type of relevant things relevant to the areas you want to work in? So just remember the importance of these personal projects, the importance of joining some groups, some of the CPD, the online free learning, Coursera, Allison, Udemy, LinkedIn.com. So there's loads of them out there, and you can be chipping away. 4 or 5 hours is still 4 or 5 hours for you busy people. You're working, you're studying, you do something for 5 hours related to the area you want to work in. That's going to look really, really good as well. And don't forget the networking piece. And by joining the groups, you're going to be meeting the criteria, you're networking, you're talking to people. I love what you do. How did you get to do it? What did you study? Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, so you continue with all of this. Are you providing evidence of your skills and experience? And always remember that idea of website links or hyperlinks. And again, to add a hyperlink, you just click on the image or you click on the piece of text. You click on the little paperclip there, and it could be github.com, and you apply. Okay, so now this will link me to GitHub if I click here. Okay, github.com. So it's a really good way of just putting evidence directly onto your CV. And finally, do you know what's happening in your sector? What's going on? Make sure you also mention on your CV that you're reading, and do read some good applications. You've got Silicon Republic, IDA Ireland, Irish Times Business News, Graduate Careers. So there's lots of things here that you can be looking at, and it shows that you're interested in what's happening in the industry. So just remember, it's a bit like juggling. There's a lot of things going on at the same time when you're updating your CV. Tips for international students, your profile, keep it relevant, address the needs of the job. Well, this is pretty much generic. No need for a photo for jobs in Ireland. Add your visa permit status, tailor each job, use NIRAC and there's a link to NIRAC there. Use NIRAC if you've want to convert any foreign qualifications. If you're not sure what level they are on our QQI system, on the National Framework of Qualifications, this website here will help convert. They have a lot of converted diplomas, degrees from other countries. And if yours isn't on there, you can just pop them an email and they will look up the conversion for you. So that can be really useful. Create a blueprint for your career. Look up the jobs you want. I would always say at least 10. Make a list of the key skills required. So you're picking out the common denominator skills in all 10 jobs. And that's really helping you to put your CV together. So let's say it's fintech or accounting, HR, technology, virtualization and cloud, or machine learning. And you look up those type of jobs. It doesn't matter the seniority, but you're pulling out what are the soft skills, what are the tech skills. Are there words in there you've never heard of before? Because you need to look those up and know what they are. And start chipping away in terms of the upskilling with the free online learning. Make a list of companies that hire in that area. So by virtually looking up the jobs, you know who's hiring in the area. Follow them on LinkedIn, because a lot of the times companies will advertise site visits, events they're having, all online. So if you're not following them, you're not going to know this information, and you could miss out on some really, really good networking opportunities with the companies that you want to work for. Focus on your academic or personal projects. Create evidence of your skills. I hope I've said that enough times for it to sink in. Join meetup groups in all of these areas. So there's a lot here. Final, more a list of things to do. And these are just a list of questions to help you when you are putting your CV together. So just some of the things that we've covered already tonight. So just before we go, I just want to check any questions, and also to say we would welcome your feedback. So please fill out the feedback form. Even if you watch the video, the feedback form is in the student success page on Moodle. So just click on it and give me your feedback. And tomorrow I will be doing a session on LinkedIn. So just any questions before I wrap up for this evening?
No, it's okay. You have cleared it up.
There's loads, so don't you worry. Tomorrow that you're going to have, there was a lot, and I do talk fast, so there's a lot going on. So just have a look at the video tomorrow. It'll be up on Moodle. I'm going to post it up onto the learning, onto Moodle homepage, and it'll be on CCT Learning Space. And do download either the business or the technology CV. Again, it will have all the details there, and just come to me with any questions. All right.
Thanks very much.
Okay, thanks for coming along tonight, and we'll see you maybe tomorrow night for LinkedIn. Okay, bye.